Hey there, welcome to the Dr. Lean Body YouTube channel. Today I wanted to discuss styku. It's spelled S-T-Y-K-U. It's an infrared body composition analysis machine. It helps determine your basal metabolic rate, and software built into the system that helps determine how many calories you should shoot for if you want to lose weight within a certain time frame. So setting caloric deficits at 500 to 1,000 calories per day to help you lose 1 pound to 2 pounds per week. Very helpful tool in determining how many calories to shoot for, what you should shoot for if you really want to lose weight and body fat more efficiently. This is something that's helped a lot of my patients over the last 6 months to reach their goals more efficiently, instead of just deciding, hey, I want to lose weight, deciding, yes, I want to lose weight and body fat, but I'm going to do so in this way. I'm going to eat 1,500 calories a day because it's going to put me at 1,000 calorie per day deficit, which is going to help me lose about 2 pounds per week, and I'm going to do that for 10 weeks to lose 20 pounds. So it helps with game planning, and I can also kind of break down macros based upon total caloric intake goals. So that's something I do for most of my patients when they come in for their scans. So we can set that at varying levels. Some folks like to have more fat in their diet. Some folks like to have more carbohydrates in their diet. So I can just kind of play with the macro data to help them determine how many grams of carbs they're going to eat, how many grams of fat they're going to eat, and protein to hit those daily caloric intake goals. So I'm going to on and show you what the scans actually look like. This is my wife, who has given permission to use her profile and scan data to kind of go through to explain what styku is and how it works. So these are two different scans that she's done. This one back in February 2021. This was in November 2021. So you can see the changes in her body composition based upon her avatar there over that time period. You can see the waist coming in, the legs coming in, arms even a little bit smaller, neck a little smaller. So some good changes in body composition there. And then we can take these images and spin them around, look at the side view, see how the abdomen is much flatter, the buttocks is coming in tighter, and then turn to the back here and look at the love handles going away, legs getting tighter, buttocks getting tighter. You can kind of see how the body is changing as you're making those lifestyle modifications. So comparison data wise, you can see over time, when you look at the different green lines, it's taking measurements. So looking at one skin versus the other, she had lost about 11.4 inches total, and about 7.3 of that was off the torso, about 2 inches off the neck and her arms, about 2.1 off of her legs. Body fat percentage, lean mass percentage, and then it breaks down the percentages into poundages. One of the interesting things about the styku evaluation, it also tells you bone density and bone mass, and you can tell the difference between android versus gynoid mass, fat mass. So that basically means upper body body fat versus lower body fat. Of course, women are going to be heavier typically in their lower body fat versus their upper body and core, more so than men that tend to be a little bit more core heavy. So as you go through here, this just gives you different measurements. It also tells you how much visceral fat you have. What visceral fat is, the fat inside kind of padding the organs, and that's something that's good to know. In those patients where this number is getting high, usually it's associated with metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, some health problems associated with the higher levels of visceral fat. So when I see that creeping up, it's a good indicator to talk with those patients and evaluate those patients for insulin resistance issues and diabetes and other problems. Sub-Q fat is the fat that's under the skin that you think of when you think about body fat. Again, it gives you bone density and BMI measurements. It also, the device actually weighs you when you stand on it and spins you around. And then all your circumferences are listed out here where you see the green lines. You can you get your measurements. So like bicep here versus right side versus left side, you can see the differences there. And then when you do more than one scan, you can trend your data. So you see how the biceps decrease from 12.3 to 11.4 on these two scans, and then you can go back here and do other areas. Like the waist circumferences went down from 29.6 to 28.6, so an inch lost in the waist circumference there. So I can show you the avatar and the changes, but also just look at specific measurements and the trend data associated with the progress being made. You can do that with body fat percent as well. Any of those measurements, we can kind of compare data. So you can see body fat percent has went down from 38 to 33, so she had lost about actually 4.6% body fat, which is great between these two scans. One being February, one being November, so a good time between those scans. And then the amount of fat mass going from 63 to 53, so about a 10-pound loss in body fat over that time period. Then you got a lean mass, actually going up. So, her lean mass actually went from 97 to 100 pounds. So she actually lost 10 pounds of body fat, but put on 3 pounds of muscle. So, this can show you those changes that are kind of hard to see, sometimes in the mirror. People get really focused on the scale, which is not the most important thing. Your body composition is more important. Body fat percentage, muscle mass. As you can lose body fat and gain muscle tissue a little bit at the same time, and really not see any significant change in the scale, although your body composition is changing in a positive way. So for those folks that get fixated on how much they weigh, this is a much better way to follow progress versus your typical just standing on the scale. When we go into the software program, it gives you information about your health based upon risk factors on your waist circumference and waist to hip ratio. As you have different measurements, you have different risk associated with those measurements. So there's data associated with that. And then this is the part where it can go into telling you how many calories that you're taking in, your basal metabolic rate. This is basically how many calories you burn throughout the day just sitting around doing nothing. Your average caloric expenditure for a typical day. This is with the number of workouts that she's actually got calculated in here. So I go to this and I tell it, okay, we want to lose, this is what we said, 6.7 pounds of body fat and 3 workouts a week, and then go back to the caloric calculator. She's going to be working out 3 days a week with a basal metabolic rate here. Her caloric expenditure per day, her break-even point with 3 workouts a week is going to be closer to like a 22, 28. So if she set her calories around a 1492, that's going to put her around an 884 calorie deficit per day. 500 calorie per day deficit over 7 days is about a pound per week, which is a good rate of weight loss or fat loss. 1,000 calories per day is going to equal out to about 2 pounds per week. Beyond that is a bit too extreme. In my opinion, I think taking it slow is the more healthy, safe way to do it. If you start going really extreme, you're going to waste a lot of muscle tissue. So 1 to 2 pounds per week, which should be a goal, and trying to set your caloric deficit somewhere between 500 to 1,000 calories per day is a good thing to do. Your goal date of when she's going to hit that goal, she set at 6.7 pounds of body fat loss. She could hit that by June the 7th, 2022, if she sets her calories right around that 1492 mark, with 3 workouts a week. So that's part of the software built into the styku program that helps me guide patients on how many calories they need to take in if they want to hit specific goals. You can change the number of calories here. I can change that to more calories, I can change to less calories, and basically that's just going to affect your caloric deficit per day. If you want to lose slower, you kind of move it up, and if she wanted about 500 calorie per day deficit diet, she could eat more around 1,800, 1,850 kind of calories per day to 1,900, somewhere near. So it's definitely a good way to game plan when you're trying to lose weight by a certain date. So you had a wedding on June the 29th, as her goal date here is. She wanted to hit it like her goals a couple weeks before. She could just adjust her calories, and we could help her hit that a little bit beforehand. So it's this is just a neat tool to be able to help patients game plan. So that's let's see. So that is styku. That's a very helpful tool to reach those body composition goals and just measure. That's a picture in the background there about 5 years ago. I'd like to get back to that body composition at some point. That was a lot of hard work right there. There's me and my father. Les, he's 70 years old now, still doing competitive bodybuilding. He competes a lot more than I do. Last year he did a couple shows, I believe. Wants to get back on a national stage this year, so hopefully he can get up on the stage and do what he loves to do. I enjoyed trying to get in good enough shape to get back on stage with him one of these days. Hopefully I can. At some point I want to put an actual patient on the styku scanner and show you how it actually works. You want to wear really tight clothing, like spandex, or really tight leggings for women, and a sports bra are fine, because if you wear loose clothing, it counts your clothing as part of your body composition, so that's not what you want. You want a good accurate measurement. So just really tight clothing for men, typically just wearing your boxer briefs as you stand on the platform and spin around in a circle will give you the the most accurate measurements. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel.